Hello, and thank you for watching this regional forecast for the Corn Belt. I'm Andrew Pritchard, meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. While I'm really going to be focusing on the next 60 to 72 hours in this video, really just honing in on this storm system tracking across the central and southern plains into the Midwest and Great Lakes as we head through the weekend, bringing just about everything with winter weather impacts expected on the north side. We've got winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings in effect from the central plains, the central and southern plains, all the way from the Texas Panhandle, stretching into Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, parts of Wisconsin, and Michigan. We've also got a flood watch, a big green area here from the Ozarks into parts of the mid-Mississippi Valley, the Ohio River Valley, central and southern Missouri, central and southern Illinois, getting into northern and central Indiana and far northwest Ohio, and then back south across parts of Kentucky, Tennessee, and then into the south. Further south in the warm sector, we have to talk about severe weather. We've got a slight risk for severe storms today on the day one outlook across parts of southern Kansas into southern Missouri, even far southern Illinois, Kentucky, and Tennessee getting in on that. The higher risk, a moderate risk across parts of Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. And that is where we expect the more widespread, high-end severe weather threat with the potential for tornadoes as well. The day two outlook, so talking about Saturday, that risk shifts off to the east and still includes parts of the Corn Belt, the Mid-South, Kentucky, and Tennessee, and that marginal risk, the dark green shading, far southern Tennessee getting into that slight risk, and then an enhanced risk across parts of Alabama, Mississippi, and the Gulf Coast. Now, as we take a look at the satellite picture, you don't yet see that classic comma shape that I love drawing on the satellite picture when we've got our big storm systems underway, and that's because the main upper-level low still situated across parts of Arizona, New Mexico, and still really getting its act together. Another thing you can see here, you can pick out the differing flows here on the different levels of the atmosphere. This is kind of cool. If you kind of look, strain your eyes and look down toward the bottom side of the image, you can see the low-level flow, kind of surface-level flow, pumping that moisture in from the Gulf of Mexico, coming in from the south and from the east. Meanwhile, over the top of that, you can see the very strong upper-level jet stream winds racing from southwest to northeast as that main upper-level trough begins to dig into the region. So we're seeing the jet stream winds doing something like this, a trough in the southwest, and then those winds racing off to the northwest. The strongest jet stream winds still, again, located back off to the southwest, rounding the bend of that upper-level low, rounding the bend of that trough. And as those strong jet stream winds begin to pump into the central and southern plains, that's only going to increase the precipitation across the region and help drive that severe weather threat off to the south. So you can pick it out when we look at the mid-level water vapor imagery. This is where you can kind of see that counterclockwise swirl beginning to evolve here. And again, this is just going to continue to track off to the north and to the east as it intensifies over the next 24 to 48 hours. Now, as we look at the radar picture across that frontal boundary stalled across the region, all sorts of moisture being pumped in up and over the top of that. So rain already underway here across parts of the Ozarks into the Ohio River Valley with some embedded thunderstorms possible in there as well. We can see that frontal boundary looking at current temperatures here at 7 o'clock this morning. Big, wide, expansive warm sector. It's going to help drive that severe weather threat off to the south. That's what's keeping this a liquid flooding rain threat here across parts of Missouri, Illinois, and into the eastern Corn Belt. And then on the cold side, this is where we'll see that threat for some wintry precipitation. The last 24 hours, again, already seeing things get underway. Already upwards of an inch of precipitation across parts of southern Missouri into southern Illinois and southern Indiana. Just kind of stair-stepping through the next 3 to 4 days to kind of time out the movement of the storm system, starting with the surface map here on Friday evening. By the time we get late in the day, seeing that rain become heavier and more widespread across this corridor with winter weather impacts beginning to unfold here across, again, parts of the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles through central Kansas into parts of central Iowa and central and southern Wisconsin. This would also be when we're starting to see that severe weather threat begin to ramp up across parts of the deep south. As we head into Saturday morning, waking up at sunrise on Saturday morning, the area of low pressure moving into parts of Arkansas toward the Ohio River Valley here. This would be the main area of low pressure, the surface area of low pressure. Again, the severe weather threat going to be along and south of the frontal boundary, just ahead of that area of low pressure. Snow becoming heavy at times now across parts of eastern Kansas, getting into northern Missouri. central, southern, and eastern Iowa into parts of northwestern Illinois, central and southern Wisconsin, then on into central and northern Michigan. Heavy rain now, very heavy rain across parts of Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana. This is when the heaviest rain will be falling across that region Friday night into Saturday morning. Jumping ahead to Saturday evening now, 6 p.m. on Saturday, the area of low pressure continues to move off to the north, now situated over the Indianapolis area, central Indiana. Again, flow around that, keeping things very warm in this region. The chance for severe weather now across the Mid-South. Even a low risk. I'm not so sure that we won't see an isolated severe storm producing primarily damaging wind gusts here into parts of the Ohio River Valley here, maybe into central and southern Indiana and Ohio. On the backside, snow continues to be heavy across parts of Missouri, Iowa, northwest Illinois, into Wisconsin, and then northern Michigan. This is where the winter weather impacts could be the most severe here during the day on Saturday across this region. Now, getting ahead to Sunday morning, this thing finally begins to lift off to the north and east out of the region, the area of low pressure, the surface low, now moving off into parts of the northeast, into parts of Quebec as well, into well off to the east of the northeast region. High pressure comes in, so we do get a quieter Sunday across the region, although I'm going to show you the upper level jet stream pattern here. It's not quiet for long across the Corn Belt, as we'll see here. Now, we'll have to talk about the later week impacts a little bit later in this video, and ultimately in more detail as we get into Monday, just for time constraints here. But we'll look at the 500 millibar jet stream winds. Again, here is the core of the strongest jet stream winds rounding the base of that trough across parts of the southwest and parts of northern Mexico. As we just play this out through the weekend, getting into Saturday, here's where you see that trough now. Very compact, very powerful trough swinging through the Ohio River Valley, through the lower and mid-Mississippi Valley. The strongest jet stream winds found here across the south, that again combined with the very strong instability, warm, humid air coming up off of the Gulf of Mexico. That again what sets the stage for the more widespread severe weather threat off to the south. But again, all sorts of very strong jet stream winds, upper level divergence, see the winds kind of fanning out. That leads to just incredible amounts of upward vertical motion. Tap that in or combine that with the abundant moisture across the region. Again, that's what really drives the threat for heavy flooding rain across this region right here. Now, we'll come back to this. We'll talk about what happens here later in the week in just a moment. Let's talk about first the next 18 hours using the high-resolution rapid refresh model. Again, precipitation already underway as we get into Friday morning across the Ohio River Valley back into parts of the Ozarks. Rain will continue to be hit or miss, kind of scattered in nature through the day on Friday across that region, maybe even a lull across parts of central and southern Illinois as we head through parts of the afternoon and evening today. But as that main upper level trough begins to push out of the southwest and really begin to intensify and dig into the central part of the country, that's going to help this rain become more widespread, heavier in nature, and then begin to develop some thunderstorms across the region. So the severe weather threat across parts of the south here begins late Friday night, continuing off to the east across Missouri, Illinois, getting into Indiana on Friday night, seeing those thunderstorms becoming more widespread. This is where we could pick up those torrential downpours, picking up that 2 to 3 inches of rainfall with some rumbles of thunder, perhaps an isolated strong storm as far north as the Interstate 70 corridor. That'd be a little bit further south. But along and south of that line, I do think there is the chance for an isolated strong storm producing primarily damaging winds as we head through Friday night and then early Saturday morning. Let's flip it over. Let's look at the high-resolution NAM model, the precipitation type forecast, so we can see the wintry impacts on the north side. Again, precipitation scattered in nature, hit or miss through the day on Friday across the Ohio River Valley, becoming heavier as we head into Friday night into Saturday. Here's where we see that heavier rain, the threat for some thunderstorms across this region now Friday night into Saturday morning. On the backside, the cold side, this is when we start to see those wintry weather impacts begin to become a little bit more substantial. The chance for some freezing rain across parts of northern Missouri, getting into eastern Iowa, northwestern Illinois, and far southern Wisconsin, with that snow threat becoming heaviest as we head into the day on Saturday, from eastern Kansas getting into northern Missouri, parts of Iowa, Wisconsin, and northwestern Illinois. That snow threat, again, most substantial, heaviest snow falling during the day on Saturday. The storm system then begins to kick on out of here. Parts of central Illinois getting into central Indiana, the snow threat not very high, but there is a small chance on the backside as this storm system kind of pulls away from the area We could see some of that lingering precipitation on the backside flip over to a quick burst of snow flurries. Not talking about any accumulating snow here across this region right here, but maybe just a very light coating when we wake up on Sunday morning. Total liquid precipitation over the next week here, taking it all the way through Friday morning. Again, a wide area with the red shading there. That is where we're talking about 2.5 to 4 inches of rain, all the way from the Gulf Coast, parts of the central and southern plains, and then on into the Great Lakes. So a very heavy rain-producing storm system, a very moisture-saturated storm system moving across the area. So total snow accumulation from the storm system, getting it all the way through Monday morning, seeing the corridor with the best chance for significant snow accumulation in excess of 6 to 10 inches of snow, falling here from around Kansas City through central and eastern Iowa, so Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, getting into Waterloo, and then into parts of central and southern Wisconsin, Madison, toward Green Bay, and then into northern Michigan. As we talk about the threat for some more significant accumulating snow, this would be heavier than 8 inches, looking at the 72-hour probability there. And again, the snow becoming heavier as you head off to the north and to the east. So looking at better than 50% odds here of 8 inches or more of snow as you head through the Madison area off into parts of northern Michigan. That threat becomes less high as you head back off to the south and to the west toward the Des Moines area. That's where we're talking about a 20 or 30% chance of 8 inches of snow or more. The threat for freezing rain, looking at the probability of 1/10 of an inch of accumulating ice from around eastern Kansas into northern and central Missouri. That's where we see the highest risk. The highest risk going to be found from central and northern Missouri into parts of northwest Illinois, from around the let's call it the south of the Kansas City area, getting in towards around Quincy, Illinois, toward around Galesburg, Illinois. The threat for 1/4 of an inch, so this would be, the threat for 1/4 of an inch of ice or more over the next 72 hours. Once again, the highest probability from central Missouri into northwest Illinois, and then again across parts of south central Michigan. Sorry. Looking now to the south, talking about the severe weather threat, the day one outlook from the Storm Prediction Center, again, talking already about that moderate risk off to the south, but still the chance for an isolated strong storm as far north as the Interstate 70 corridor through parts of central Missouri into south central Illinois. The probability for tornadoes, hail, and then damaging wind off to the bottom. And again, you see that highest threat for some tornadoes across parts of eastern Texas, southern Arkansas, and northern Louisiana. Widespread wind damage threat then moving across, again, parts of the southern plains into the Ozarks, parts of the southern U.S. The day two outlook, so this covers Saturday. Now seeing that marginal risk getting into parts of Kentucky and Tennessee, primarily talking about damaging winds in that area, but still the threat for an isolated tornado, especially as you head off towards the south, across parts of southern Tennessee. I know we've got playoff football across Tennessee here. The Titans are in action, so again, keep that in mind if for some reason you're headed off to the game. And if you're trying to watch the game in Tennessee, don't be surprised if your local meteorologist has to interrupt with life-saving information. That is their job. But the severe weather threat increases markedly as you head off toward the south into the Gulf Coast. Looking at the temperatures, you can really watch the boundary kind of stall across this region as we head through Friday night into Saturday morning before the cold front finally kicks in on the backside, bringing some cooler temperatures into the region. We'll play this once more, kind of moving quickly. I know we're getting a little bit long-winded in this as there's a lot of different things to talk about. But the area of low pressure finally starts swinging into the region here. We're going to get a Saturday morning. Right now, the low situated right across central Illinois here. You see the warm front extending off to the north, warm air being funneled northward. And then you see the cold front extending back off to the south, bringing in cooler air. And it's, again, that clash of those air masses. Plenty of instability, warm and humid air with the strong jet stream winds, and then a frontal boundary there to kind of kick things off. That is what drives that threat for severe weather off to the south. Total instability, again, going to be highest as we get into late Friday into Friday night. So the severe weather threat highest overnight tonight into Saturday morning. We see instability just a bit lower as we head through the day on Saturday, again with that severe weather threat highest off to the south. Now looking at the timing of the severe weather threat here, looking at the high-resolution NAM model, a little bit of a closer zoom here. Watching a squall line emerge from parts of Oklahoma and Texas across southern Missouri as we get into about this is midnight, around 12, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock this morning, as the line of storms begins to move across parts of Arkansas into southern Missouri. Getting into the Ohio River Valley, parts of Kentucky and Tennessee midday on Saturday. This would be noon on Saturday. Taking into Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening now, that squall line continuing to move off across now parts of central and eastern Kentucky, getting out of here by the time we get to about 8 or 9 o'clock on Saturday night, and that will bring the severe weather threat to an end. Now we'll take a look at the upper level jet stream pattern. I wanted to kind of point out where we're headed after this. Here's the first main upper level wave. This comes blasting through here Friday into Saturday. Watch what happens though as we head into early next week. Another trough. Another trough. And a third trough on the backside. Now the difference here, these are quick moving short waves, and if we flip it over, we'll look at the moisture content, the precipitable water. Let's bring it back once more. Again, watching abundant moisture being brought northward with this first storm system here Friday into Saturday, producing heavy rain, severe weather, and winter weather impacts on the north side. Watch what happens when these next waves move through. There's the first one here Monday, very dry. This first frontal boundary, this first storm system takes the moisture and kind of squeegees it down to the Gulf Coast. So as these quick-moving short waves come through here Monday through Wednesday, they're struggling to tap into any moisture. It's not until we get to, here's the one that moves through on Wednesday. This brings the best chance for additional precipitation across this region. That first two, Monday and Tuesday, really starved for moisture and not going to be bringing any significant impacts to the region. But again, watching this first storm system get out of here Friday and Saturday. We'll bring this back here, watching the timing Friday into Saturday. Now Sunday, the storm system pulls away. The first short wave moves through there quietly. Next short wave moves through here. Pretty quiet. Maybe some light snow across parts of the northern plains. Maybe some rain here across parts of the mid-south. The next storm system, or the next trough in the line, the next quick-moving shortwave, does have a little bit more moisture to tap into, a little bit more time for the moisture to recover across the south here from the first weekend storm system. And so we will have to analyze this more as we get into next week, talking about the chance for some additional precipitation, maybe some snow across the northern plains and the Great Lakes as we head into midweek. We'll finish now with your high temperatures, your highs for the day on Friday. Very warm along and south of that frontal boundary, 60s, 50s possible here with colder air on the north side. Cooler air starts to work in, but boy, look at the warm air advection in advance of this storm system. 60s, maybe 70s across parts of the eastern Corn Belt, Indiana, Ohio, parts of Kentucky and Tennessee, well into the lower 70s on Saturday afternoon. Cooling off, though, as we head into early next week, 70s, Sunday, and now into Monday. But notice what happens here. On the backside, we're not watching a deep plunging cold front that's going to bring any sustained cold across this region. No, we quickly start returning things with unseasonable warmth returning to the region here. Again, high temperatures on Tuesday back into the 50s across the eastern Corn Belt, the Ohio River Valley. That's about 20 degrees warmer than we should be this time of year. Overnight lows on Saturday, waking up to temperatures very warm and balmy across this region here, upper 50s. Cooler air plunging in across the north, temperatures well below zero across the northern plains. Cold on Sunday morning as well across the region, that front starting to push through the region, but then warm air begins to slowly creep back in Monday and Tuesday. As always, Eric Snodgrass will have an in-depth look at the evolution of the next 1 to 2 weeks in our Monday morning ag forecast video, and I will be back to talk about the Corn Belt once again on Tuesday morning. Have a great day and a wonderful weekend.